Hello, this is Didac, and in this video I want to show you how to create and install and configure a virtual machine or so-called instance in Amazon Web Services. This instance will be an Ubuntu server, and we will install in it a Subversion server so we can update our code and keep it up to date, making versions of it and downloading and not being worried about losing data or any issues we could have, because Subversion will watch our code for us. So I hope it will be useful for you. You will learn a lot from it and you will have fun. Okay, so I'll start by showing you how to configure our account in Amazon Web Services. So I'll assume you have an account, otherwise you can create it by pressing over Get Started for Free, this button. So once you're inside, you'll see a screen like this, and you should press over EC2. Inside you'll see a panel with a lot of options and links, and one of these options is to go to security groups, which you will have to configure or create one of them, which are used to tell the virtual machine or instance what ports do we want to be opened. So let's create a new security group, and I'll give it a name of, for example, Subversion IDAC 1. Description: Subversion security group. So we create it and it will appear in the list, as we can see when it loads. Okay, so here we have it. So now to open the ports we want to, we should press over inbound, and in port range put our rule. So the first port we should open is 22, which corresponds to the SSH port for secure connections. So let's press add rule and apply rule changes. So now we can see here in the list which this is opened. Now the next port we should open is the port used by Subversion, which is 3690. So let's add the rule and apply rule changes. So congratulations, you have configured your security group for our future Subversion instance or server, and we will in the next video, in the next part of this video, I'll show you how to start creating an instance and connecting to it. Now we will create our instance or our virtual machine. So for it we go to instances, and you can see here a list of some instances I have. So to create a new one, let's press launch instance and we'll select the classic wizard. So press continue, and here there is a list of different options, operating systems that we can choose, and those who have the star means that they are free to install. So for our purpose we will choose the Ubuntu server 12.04.1 LTS 64-bit version. So let's select it. Those steps are quite basic and we don't really need to change anything, so let's continue. The same happens here. Continue. One more time. Here you can give key and value pairs. It's not really relevant, but it can help you find your virtual machine when you have a lot in this list. So I don't need it by now, so continue. Okay, in this part we should create a new key pair, which is used to, once is created, to connect to our machine. So let's put it, give it a name. For example, SVN key. SVN key. And now create and allow your key pair. Okay, so now we have our .pem file, which we will use in, I will show you how to use it in the next video. So just continue. Oh yeah, we have to choose our security groups, which we made in the last part. So of course I will choose the Subversion DDAC 1. Continue, and this is the final list of options that we have chosen. Okay, so let's press launch, and we have our machine launched. So it tells us that our instances are now launching. Perfect. And that's all by now. In the next part, I will show you how to parse this PEM file to a PPK file, which is the one used by the PuTTY client that we will need. But this is the next part. Now we need two programs. One is the PuTTY client, and the other one is the PuTTY gen, which we'll use to parse our .pem file to a PPK file used by Amazon Web Services. So you have to download it, clicking in this link, and I already have it, so I open it, and now you'll see it. So press over conversions, import key, and go to select the file you have downloaded. In my case, svn_key.pem, this file. So let's open it, and now we should save. Okay, now you have to press over a save private key, and give it a name. In this case, I will give it the name of the original file, just svn_key. Yeah, and as you see here, it will save it as a PPK file. So it's done. You can see here the resulting file, and that's all by now. Hi, in this part of the video we will connect PuTTY to our instance. So the first thing, which is volunteer, I will name it. I'll give it a name like so instance. So now it has a name, and for connect to the instance we should right click over it and press start. We accept the pop-up, and now as we can see the state is pending. It means that it is initializing, as we can see here, in fact, and in a few seconds we will be able to connect it. So while it's turning on, we will find a PuTTY program. Got it here, and now we should wait until it's completely started. Okay, so it is started. Now we can see the public domain name. You should copy that and paste it in the hostname PuTTY text field. Now in this part, this is SSH. We open it and go to authorization, and we must browse the PPK, which I got here. If you remember, the PPK was the key that we converted in the last video, so that is one to use. We got here. So as you can see here, we have what we already pasted, the public domain name. Now let's open it, the session with PuTTY. It asks if we really want to connect it. We say yes, and will ask us what's the login. So by default it's Ubuntu, and now we are inside the machine. Okay, so let's install Subversion in our Ubuntu server. So the first thing we need to do is to update our programs and the operating system. So with this command we are updating the system. This way we ensure that we won't have any errors or problems that we could have if it was not up to date. Okay, now it is installed. So now it is updated, so now we will install Subversion. It is installing. Say yes, we want to. And after a while, everything will be okay to keep configuring the server. Okay, it's done, it's installed. So the first thing we will need is to have a directory to put our repositories inside. So let's make a directory. I will put it in my home and a SVN directory. And now let's go to it. Okay, we're inside it, and now make a new directory which will contain the repository itself, the specific repository we want to create. Okay, now we should tell the SVN to create the repository inside the directory we just have made. Okay, it's done. Now let's give permissions to this directory, my project. So for testing purpose, I would give a complete access permission. Okay. Now we will create the users and the password that we want to give access to our repository through SVN. So the first thing is to go to my project directory, and now I'm gonna edit the svnserv.conf file. So we go to the conf directory, and I'm gonna edit the svnserv file. So I will use the nano text editor. So this is the content of this file, of the svnserv.conf file. Now we should uncomment this line, the password dv. So now it is uncommented, and let's get out of it and save it. Now I'm gonna edit the password file, as you can see here, and we can see here an example of users which are commented, so they don't really exist, and I'm gonna add a new one called, for example, video, because that's what I'm making now, and the password of WASD, WASD. Let's exit it again, save it. Now that it is done, we should convert the server to a SVN server. So we have to activate the listening of the actions that we can give through a client. So for that, I'm going to use this command. Okay, now in theory, I would be able to connect to this repository and edit files and upload and download and all. So now I'm going to use Eclipse to see that. Now I'm gonna connect my Eclipse with the SVN repository exploring plugin installed to my SVN server, which we already installed and configured. So the first step is to copy the domain name, the public domain name of our instance, and in the interface let's press over near repository location. Now in the URL put the SVN intro here, and the final of the URL we put the my project location, which is the name of the repository we just created before. As a user, as if we remember, I used to make a video user with a password of WAST. Now we click finish, we should be able to connect it. So as we can see, here is our repository location. Now I'm gonna bring the repository to my Java perspective. So I'm gonna create a Java project, project from SVN, and I will select the repository I have in my other perspective. So let's select it. Yeah, it's okay. Gonna create Java project called video, and we are done with it. Because I have just one computer, I'm gonna simulate that I'm gonna simulate that this computer have two users to connect to the SVN. So I'm gonna create a new user by editing the password file. So let's create a new user, user1, with the password 1234. Exit and save. And now from the Eclipse, I'm gonna import the new repository as we made before. There's not special difference with the previous process. And now from here, let's put the user1 and the 1234 password. I'm gonna give a label or name to be able to distinguish it from the other one. So let's go to location properties, use custom label, user1. Okay, now the repository, to recognize it, it's called user1. Let's create a new repository for it. Create a Java project with the name of user1 video. So now I'm creating a file called new file, which will contain something. Let's put a comment, and I'm gonna commit it from team commit. Now from the user1 video project, I will be able to update it, and I will receive the new file called new file. As you can see, here we have the new file, which is exactly the same that the file that we made before. Now I'm gonna generate an error by editing this file. For example, editing this file to create a conflict. Now we will edit the other file with a different content. Now if we commit one and we commit another, we will see that it creates a conflict that we will have to resolve with the Eclipse interface. Let's commit from one place. And now when we commit from the other file, it will find an error. So to solve it, we must go to team, synchronize with repository, say yes, and now it will find the differences between the both files. So you can see here is the conflict. Now to resolve it, we can choose the mark as merged option. And now we'll be able to commit it. So let's make the commit. And now we have resolved a conflict between two files. As you can see. Now we're gonna create a branch. To create a branch, we have to press over the repository file. This is user 1. Create new folder. Now create a folder called branches. So now that we've got our branches folder, we should click over new branch and give name to the new branch. Let's call it new branch. Let's press OK. It's creating it, and once finished, we should press over the Java perspective and click over our project. For example, in this file, if we want to put it in a branch, just go to team, branch. Now we select the branch we have created, new branch, and just put it there. We can put a comment like commit the file to the new branch. It's committing it. Now it's not visible from the Java perspective, but if we go to our repository explorer perspective, we'll see that the new branch folder that we just created inside has the file we have committed right now. Now let's create a tag. For this, we press over now, like we did with the branches. Create a folder called tags. We'll create it for us. Now inside here, create a tag. And let's call first version tag. As you can see, the process is quite similar to the branches. So now we go to the Java perspective, and for example, let's say the new file, we want to give it a tag. Select the new tag, tagging file for the first time. Now if we go here, you can see that we have our file tagged inside the folder first version tag. Okay, that's all by now. I hope that you have learned from it and that you had fun. So, bye.